all know Android 21 in a lab coat is an absolute menace right now, but with the new patch that's coming around to Dragonball FighterZ, everyone's excited to see how they're gonna change that tyrant of a character to be something a little bit more fair and honest. And that's exactly what today's video is about. Today I want to propose some changes that I think would be pretty good for the character, and along the way I want to talk about what I think the issue with Android 21 in a lab coat really is. But this is a two-way conversation here, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. How would you change Android 21 in a lab coat? So what makes Android 21 in a lab coat so strong? For starters, she's got the fastest beam in the game. There's nobody who can compete with that. And many times, she can actually react to something that you're doing at full screen with the beam and catch you off guard with it, as to where other characters aren't really as capable, not to mention her lariat and an anti-air version of that. She's got built-in mix with her command grab, not to mention the command grab level 1, which we'll be getting into in a second, just hold on there. But as if that wasn't enough, her normal moves, between the overheads and the lows, she can just mix you out of your shoes pretty much whenever she wants to. And the damage output of this character is also nothing to scoff at. But really, all that stuff is just icing on the cake, because the actual problem that people have with Android 21 is her debuff mechanic, where with her level 1, she can go ahead and increase her own damage output by 21%, while nerfing your damage output by 21%. And alone, by itself, this isn't exactly the most unheard of thing. And the reason I say that is because, well, we have Sparking. Now, Sparking Blast gives you a 20% increase in your damage when you activate it. It also gives you a healing property which helps you to mitigate a lot of the incoming damage. Now, the defensive and offensive properties of Sparking are very comparable to Android 21's nerfs, as a nerfed character attacking Android 21 would dish out similar damage as if they were attacking somebody who only had Sparking activated. So if the values of the debuff are similar to Sparking, what makes the debuff so much of a problem? Well, the issue is that it's permanent. There's nothing you can do about it. Once you get debuffed, that's it. You're stuck with that debuff. On top of that, her buff actually stacks with all other buffs in the game. So if we look at her normal 1000 damage command grab, we can see that it does 1200 during Sparking. But with the buff, it only does 10 more damage with 1210. But with Sparking and the buff, it suddenly does 1452 damage. But what if you have all those buffs and Android 21 is the last character alive? Well, suddenly that simple command grab is doing 1573 damage. But what about a simple no buffed combo? Something like this will deal 3667 damage. Literally a combo anybody can do. When we stack Sparking on top of that little combo, it suddenly does 4396 damage. And if Android 21 decides to do this combo with only the buff, it only gets 3705 damage. But do the same combo with the buff and Sparking, and suddenly you're dishing out 4447 damage. And if you stack all possible buffs, if Android 21 is the last one alive, she's got the buff on her, and she goes Sparking, that 3667 damage combo suddenly turns into a 4820 damage combo. That's almost half of somebody's life, and if we wanted to stack level 1s on this, we totally could. This right here is the real issue behind Android 21 in the lab coat. The issue being, the buff doesn't have a time limit on it. It's not like Golden Frieza, where he gets a burst of strength for a short period of time, and it's not like Sparking Blast, a resource that runs out after a little bit of time. This is permanent. It stays on Android 21, and there is nothing you can do about that. The debuff also is permanent, and there's nothing you can do about that. And this is only compounded by the fact that she can stack it with other buffs. Alone, this wouldn't be an issue. Now, this mechanic essentially gives Android 21 in the lab coat an extra comeback mechanic that no other character has access to. Not to mention the fact, because the debuff takes away 21%, you essentially take away a comeback mechanic from the opponent, as the debuff percentage is comparable to a Sparking Blast increase. Now let's say you get debuffed, so you decide to go ahead and swap out the character, and Android 21 is still there fighting. Well, that means whoever you swap in, while they don't have the debuff activated on them, they still have to deal with the damage increase that 21 still has, effectively fighting a character who's got half the power of a Sparking Blast. But let's switch the roles around. Let's say Android 21 goes ahead and swaps her character out for a different character who doesn't have the buff active, and you decide to keep your character in there who still has the debuff. Well, this just means that now your character has to fight against someone else who has half the power of a Sparking Blast. Since you're still debuffed, they essentially have the more defensive properties, and the damage you deal to them is going to be heavily mitigated. So it's not as if this level 1 is only affecting Android 21 and whoever she's fighting. It's affecting the entire team on both sides, and it's practically free. So here's a couple of changes I think they can go ahead and implement to fix Android 21 in the lab coat. One of the options I thought that was pretty cool was if you end up getting the debuff applied to you, you can spark in order to go ahead and strip it off. Maybe they can implement something to where if you hit Android 21 with the actual spark bubble, then her buff gets deactivated as well. I don't know if that part is too much to ask for, so to keep things simple, we'll just say sparking takes off your debuff. Now obviously you could just rearrange the values of the debuff and the buff mechanic in order to make them much less. Maybe that is an option, but for the purpose of this video, we're gonna try and find some other solutions that aren't so on the nose. So I think a really good change for Android 21 in the lab coat, if you get the buff on Android 21, great, awesome. You get the 21% increase and decrease. But if you spark with the buff active, then all you get is the regeneration from the spark. That's it. One solution I'm not the biggest fan of is being able to swap out a character and swap them back in order to deactivate the debuff. And the reason I'm not the biggest fan of this fix is because with the changes they made in Dragonball FighterZ recently, they made it very easy to swap characters. In the middle of a combo, you can throw out a lariat or any of your character's special attacks and immediately tag out. This would make it so like that her debuff is pretty much negligible, as a lot of people in higher level play do a lot of swapping out as it is. So a different solution I think that would be cool is if you go ahead and take Android 21 out, then the debuff also gets deactivated. And one solution that I think is pretty creative would be if they introduce a mechanic where when she applies the debuff, her meter gradually goes down. That's how she has to keep the buff and debuff active. As long as she has meter, the buff and debuff are active. If that meter hits 0, then everything gets deactivated. During this time, her meter buildup would also be slightly nerfed. That way she can still build meter to counterbalance meter going down, but it's not nearly as much meter as she would have built, meaning that she can't take as much advantage of her EX moves and other level 1s and other supers if she wants to keep the buff and debuff active. I feel like one of the biggest issues of this debuff mechanic is the fact that it costs so little. It's almost free, to be honest. So making it cost more and giving Android 21 a little bit more resource management to deal with that, I think would be a really cool addition to the game. Or they can simply just make it not stack with other things. Now these are all solutions that I thought would be a pretty good idea for the game, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. How do you think they should tweak Android 21's debuff mechanic? I look forward to seeing the creative ideas you guys come up with. Subscribe if you're new here. We upload literally daily. So feel free to check out any of the videos on your screen if you want to go ahead and get some more Dragon Ball FighterZ entertainment, and I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. I really thank you guys for watching.